because I'm not limiting myself. This is much bigger than just that. And I feel like some of the best founders are the ones that just want to hit the grand slam. They're not looking for the home run. They're not looking for a single score. Like they want the grand slam. And that's what we've always set out to do. It's never just been like this small piece of the pie. It's much bigger than that. It's gamified commerce, right? It's engagement shopping. It's truly and fundamentally a dopamine chase at the end of the day.
This is Money Never Sleeps. Sharp riffs, big ideas, and real insights from smart people. I'm Pete Townsend, GP at Norio Ventures. Let's go.
Money never sleeps, pal.
My guest today is Andrea Miele, co-founder and CEO of Beezie, and she's one of the most resilient founders I know. Andrea has been in crypto since 2015, and in her pre-crypto life, she was driving growth, building teams, building culture in high-tech healthcare. For transparency, I invested in Beezie via Techstars way back in 2024. In small world, Andrea grew up about 15 minutes north of me in Western Massachusetts. Andrea Miele, welcome to Money Never Sleeps.
Hi, Pete. Money does never sleep. It's the perfect name for a podcast. I've always loved it. How you doing?
Isn't it? Thank you. Yes. Listen, Andrea, let's start with Beezie, with the business. For people not familiar, give us a business in a nutshell, yeah?
Yeah, so I'll explain it the way I tell my parents or my kids. We take the physical thing and we create its digital twin and we put it on this thing called blockchain and that we let people buy and sell the digital while we custody. I mean, it's simple, but the fun part is the gamification.
And having been with you since 2024 and seeing the evolution of this and seeing and remembering that first chat that we had about the claw, that significantly accelerated things, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the claw is the hook, right? It's the gamification layer is what I call the answer to a marketplace's cold start problem. And I remember when we first started this journey, which feels like many lifetimes ago, a lot was focused on the logistics, right? Having the Brinks vaulting partnership, these resellers not having to burden their back end with dealing with shipments and transactions. And that's great, right? And it makes up a big part of our offering, but it's not that sexy at the end of the day, right? Like, what is the thing that we're going to get UGC from that's going to bring new users onto Beezie and have them then make that marketplace transaction over in eBay?
Tell us about the products that are featured on Beezie.
We have a full suite marketplace, right? And then we have the claw slash gamification. And I say slash gamification because it will not always be a claw. That's our flagship. It's been fun. We run with it. I love it. But the smart contract on the back end can be spun up with a front end that looks like anything. It's really just the instant liquidity loop that makes it exciting.
Absolutely. And you and I have talked about this before, that it can be sometimes frustrating when others would put you into a bucket called TCG or trading card games. Why does that undersell the vision?
I don't see it as frustrating anymore because now it's quite validating. We were one of the first out there to talk about it. And I will say, we always came out as multi-category. Beezie has been the type of company that saw the next thing first, right? We saw this like instant buyback liquidity and developed that smart contract before anyone else did. We saw the opportunity beyond trading cards and sports cards and came out as multi-category with many people, including investor conversations, saying, why multi-category? Like just do the one thing. Well, now the one thing has, 80 new sites popping up every single day. And what we will see is that the platforms that live and die by the one thing will live and die by the one thing, because the bigger conversation is the gamification of commerce. And that's not just restricted to trading cards. And it's funny, there's still conversations where they don't get the bigger picture, which is multi-category gamification. And they're like, why not just TCG? Focus on that. It works. And you're like, because I'm not limiting myself. This is much bigger than just that. And I feel like some of the best founders are the ones that just want to hit the grand slam. They're not looking for the home run. They're not looking for a single score. Like, they want the grand slam. And that's what we've always set out to do. It's never just been like this small piece of the pie. It's much bigger than that. It's gamified commerce, right? It's engagement shopping. It's truly and fundamentally a dopamine chase. At the end of the day, it's an engaging dopamine chase that also entertains people at the same time, because particularly the next generation of buyers are much less interested in just a static sale. They want to feel something. And, that's what we're building towards.
I heard you talk to Pepperisha about that actual physical feeling that you get when you rip a pack of cards, for example. You
Yeah.
rip that pack open. And that actual experience, you've said, was the trade-off, that you're trading that for the liquidity and distribution.
Convenience, yeah. Yep.
And I think this goes back to some of your childhood experiences with cards. Like I remember myself opening up a pack of Topps baseball cards and the smell of the stale bubble gum that was inside the pack that sometimes stained the back of the cards, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's very hard, like you said, to replace that moment. And that's not limited to cards, right? It's like opening a real life present. It's scratching off a scratch ticket in person. It's opening a blind box. It's that physical, tangible thing in that moment is a super special moment. And we didn't set out to completely replace that. We just set out to make that more efficient. So if I could scratch off a scratch ticket and all of a sudden, if I win, that money's in my bank account versus having to go back to the store and do the thing. And I'm sure there's plenty of people that have like $10 or $20 wins just laying around their house that they just haven't gone back for. It doesn't mean that those pieces are going to go away. It's just an alternative option that adds an extra layer to liquidity and efficiency.
It's a very good point that there's a different sensation and feeling versus ripping a pack of cards where you started and, like you said, opening the blind boxes, but also
And we
the
can't.
feel of the feel of the luxury bag.
You can't replace that, right? Anyone that sets out to just completely replace that, it's the wrong game. You have to figure out how can I complement that.
And do you find that that trade-off is acceptable if people trust Beezie and trust you and trust the platform? And how have you built that trust?
That's a big piece of what we set out as, a goal every single day since inception. I mean, we had our vaulting contract with Brinks set up before we even began like full scale development on the platform, because it's foundationally one of the things that I believe, particularly with a new consumer that has never been on chain, the blockchain's completely abstracted. They come in and they sign in with their email and they buy with their Apple Pay. We're still a startup. You're not seeing us as like a name brand, household known platform yet. But Brinks is, right? Brinks is a name brand. Everyone knows that truck going from point A to point B. And so that was one of the ways that we hope to build that trust with our users.
Building trust isn't only important with the users, but also it's important with investors and raising money, right? And I've watched this one up close. And we saw some of the best known funds in the space that passed.
Yeah.
And more than once.
We
And
sure did.
and I remember when you were somewhere around 30 no's, and I told you not to get worried until you hit 100. And walk me through that journey from the first round now into the next round that you're working on now.
It's been soul crushing and validating at the same time, because we were so early into this meta. We got a ton of no's. We got a ton of no's. Just people didn't get the vision at all. And that was really hard. But we did get some yeses from some amazing investors that are still on our cap table, have been with us every step of the way. Some have doubled, some have tripled down. Simon Dedek from Moonrock is the top of my list when I think of people who've just never lost the faith, saw the vision, and have been right alongside of us. So I feel incredibly grateful for that. Raising this last round was quite different because people understood that this thing was finding product market fit. I won't say it was easy. It's never easy. And sometimes you get no's and you just don't understand why. And you get like an AI slop response of, sorry. Again, soul crushing. especially, when you're coming out of the gate with like 100 million in volume.
What was that turning point where they weren't an early investor and they weren't coming back to double down on what was your last round, and they were new relationships?
Oh my God, I could talk for hours about this for other founders because there's a lot of insight from this last one that I don't think I had before it. I'll say it's obvious, but once you have a great lead, that makes everything kind of fall into place. And we found an incredibly amazing, supportive, hands-on lead. They're called Stallion. The GP there just gets it. Aside from that, I think a lot of people came on because of the vision and seeing the forest through the trees and seeing the opportunity and coming in with a team that got it beyond this exact moment. So you really have to have people that aren't coming in to just like trade tomorrow and then be off. But the confidence was there, right? We did everything we did off of rubbing a couple pennies together. We are one of the, if not the most resilient and grittiest team in this space. Like we might be the only platform that survived Blast and is now thriving. Show me another one. I don't know. We never stopped. We showed up every single day. We never stopped. We did all of this without having a huge war chest, and we were up against some teams and some platforms that had massive war chests. So I was really confident coming into every conversation and looked at this round like, okay, if you don't see it, it's your loss, not mine, because there's going to be plenty of people that see it. And I think that's really, really important.
Did things ever get to that point where it was, hey, I'm all set here?
Yeah, and that's actually one of the fun parts. There were plenty of no's that actually we gave where it wasn't the right fit. They were kind of being too slow. We had others that were ready to take that check if they didn't want it. And so if it felt like someone was either trying to come in for the wrong reasons or just was on the fence, it was really easy for me to say, hey, you know what, it's not right for us at this time. So I'll add you on our investor email and keep you updated.
That's a great feeling.
It's a great feeling.
And now that you are, like you said, Blast to Flow, and now Base and Solana.
Yeah.
Solana's live now. What's next? New verticals, integrations? Where does
Yeah.
it go from here?
We were on Flow, and Base is obviously a massive consumer chain, and we were limited with our distribution on Flow. So we expanded to multi-chain in January, and that's when we saw the numbers just go crazy. We've done, I think at this point, 185 million on Base this year alone in volume, in trading volume, about 93, 94 million in revenue. But Solana has really owned this narrative around collectibles, right? Every new builder is building on Solana. And it's for a reason. They get it. They understand that this is the thing that's going to onboard the next wave of users into crypto. And so for us to ignore that entire segment of the space, regardless of how hard the lift was to integrate, would have been a massive gap. The next piece for us beyond that is adding in new categories, new brand partnerships, which we'll be announcing really, really soon.
Well, listen, Andrea, you've taken this so far, and I know it's going to go a lot further. And congrats on getting the second round now to this stage that you've got it to. I can't wait to see
Thank you.
where you take it from here.
And thank you for your support all along the way. You've been on this journey since day one, and it's been great to have you as a sounding board, as a mentor. Appreciate having you in our corner, Pete.
Absolutely. Always. Listen, I knew from day one, and I know people say that a lot, but that from that very first time we spoke, I could just see it in the whites of your eyes. And usually that doesn't happen over Zoom, but I saw it. And when I talk to people, Andrea, I say what I said at the beginning, that you are one of the most resilient founders I know, and you and Pratik together are an unbelievable pairing. And it just makes total sense. And I see the drive, the growth, the ambition, the desire, the resilience, the just don't stop.
Grit, don't quit. That's what I say.
It's amazing. It's
Don't-
amazing. What's the best place for people to go to learn more about Beezie and what you're doing?
Beezie.com. You can follow us on our socials too. There's always great engagement and giveaways. So Beezie at Beezie on X, and then BZDOTCOM on Instagram. And our Discord is always super active, amazing community, really helpful. So pick your poison.
And to all of you out there, thanks for watching and listening. And don't forget to follow or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Helps others to find the show, and it means a heck of a lot to me. Till next time, see ya.